Welcome to An Author Dissects a Narrative with your host, Husna Haze. In this captivating series, we will unravel the intricate tapestries of your favorite movies, TV shows, games, books, and beyond. Prepare to embark on a journey of analysis and exploration as we uncover the hidden gems and profound themes within these beloved narratives. Remember to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing for a regular dose of insightful content. Let's delve into the realms of storytelling together. To the deconstructed universe. That's right, we're back with Dune Prophecy. Now, before it was Dune Prophecy, it was actually titled Dune Sisterhood, and I would have preferred if they kept the sisterhood aspect of it, but in all aspects and like watching this, it's kind of like self-explanatory, so Dune Prophecy just does kind of fit. Now, I have been on the hunt, on the lookout for this TV series ever since it was announced. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I love me a good sci-fi TV series, a good sci-fi film, a good sci-fi story and narrative. And I love Dune. Like, it's really close to my heart. I love the movies. I've watched all of them. And I do love the movies, the current movies with Zendaya and obviously Timothée Chalamet. And I just love this series, and I do have to say that it's just getting better and better and better. Now, right off the bat, I'm gonna give this episode a rating of an A+. I loved it. It was fantastic. It laid the groundwork, and I just have to say that it just shows kind of how the Bene Gesserit are an organization like no other. I mean, they've been plotting, they've been planning, they've been putting safeguards in place, they've been doing everything in their power to control the Imperium. And we've all seen that like in the books, and we've seen it in the movies, but to see it in just like the sisterhood's aspect is kind of like amazing. I found myself wanting to root for them, but at the same time, like what they stand for is kind of just messed up. And if you get into the books, it's all kind of messed up, and it kind of all started with them. They kind of caused what they wanted to divert from, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna like go into the introduction of Dune Prophecy. So the prophecy in Dune, created by Frank Herbert, isn't just a storytelling device, but serves as a framework for exploring the intricate details of destiny, manipulation, and human psychology. The story is set in a universe where powerful entities like the Bene Gesserit play with religion and prophecy to maintain control over civilizations. In the first part of Dune, the prophecy surrounding the Kwisatz Haderach, I hope I'm saying that right, becomes a focal point, shrouding, Paul Atreides' future in ambiguity and tension. So the purpose of, Dune Prophecy is to explore the kind of birth of all of that. And I'm telling you, this episode kicked it off, and I was hooked. So the Bene Gesserit's role in shaping the prophecy. So the sisterhood, with their selective breeding program spanning generations, have attempted to create the Kwisatz Haderach, a messiah-like figure capable of immense power. Their involvement, exemplifies how the prophecy in Dune is not entirely supernatural, but is engineered by those seeking to influence the masses. Prophecy sets a tone of a predetermined fate, but Herbert also cleverly introduces the concept of free will, making readers question whether Paul is fulfilling a destiny or being forced into it. And this is where, the TV series really draws from, and episode 1 really draws from. We saw the birth of all of this. We also saw a bit of the war with the thinking machines, and we saw how, the First Reverend Mother really put all of this into motion and how she chose her successor. Now, we're going to get into a bit of Paul Atreides' encounter with the prophecy. Now, I know, this is all things we know, but it's important to, understand in order to get a better understanding of the series and where it might go, and how episode 1 really blew it out of the park. In the initial episodes, or the sections where Paul is, introduced, or rather, the book series, he's not really mentioned outright, but he is mentioned a bit in the trailers, and basically it's the inception and conception of Paul and his predetermined destiny and how it was engineered. And in order to do that, we kind of encounter Paul not directly but through the prophecy in the series in the first episode. So Paul is introduced as a seemingly ordinary young man with extraordinary potential. His dreams and premonitions hint at a deeper connection to the universe and to Arrakis, the desert planet. The Fremen, the indigenous people of Arrakis, also hold prophecy of a messiah who will bring the freedom and transform the desert world into a paradise. As Paul becomes aware of these prophecies, there is an undercurrent of tension between his awareness of expectations and the mysteries unfolding with his power. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the philosophical underpinnings of the prophecy. So Herbert doesn't treat the prophecy as a simple prediction of the future. Instead, it raises questions about self-fulfilling prophecies and the power of belief systems. The belief in prophecy can shape reality, as seen with how the Fremen interpret Paul's actions and words. The interplay of manipulation, genuine belief, and the weight of expectation adds a unique complexity to Dune, making it as much a philosophical novel as it is a science fiction epic. Now that we've actually gotten a bit of background to everything, we kick it off with, the first episode of Dune Prophecy titled The Hidden Hand. So it launches the series with a whirlwind of political intrigue and history. Set as a prequel to the original Dune saga, it takes place during the Great Machine Wars, known as the Brutalian Jihad, and explores the early days of the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. The pacing is intense, and it crams a significant amount of exposition into the initial minutes, which some critics felt made the episode feel stuffed or oversaturated, a bit overwhelming. Yet, the dense narrative introduces pivotal characters, and I frankly loved it. I loved seeing those sequences with the, Balerian Jihad. The interaction and introduction of, Vaila, I can't say her name, Valia and Tula Harkonnen. I love that. Really showcases their ambition and struggles as they rise in power within the sisterhood. Visually, Dune Prophecy delivers a high-caliber experience with stunning set designs and expensive special effects, keeping with HBO's reputation for quality productions. However, the storytelling has been compared to Game of Thrones, which I think is just kind of unfair because they're in different genres, and I feel like they're both on the same level of storytelling, but they're in different genres, and it's not fair to compare them. But as they're both being produced by HBO, it is just only natural that the home that they call, home, the company that they call home that's telling these stories, that they'd be naturally compared. But they're two different, aspects of genres, two different forms of storytelling in the aspect of themes. there are some that overlap, but honestly, it's not fair to compare the two of them. And as a huge fan of both Game of Thrones and Dune, I basically like it's like the storytelling is peak, but that's as much as I can say that, you know, it's just not fair to compare these two. They're both juggernauts in their own right and in their own genres. So with its courtly intrigue, I think that's where people are drawing that connection, because, you know, it's kind of brutal in tone, though some feel the characters haven't reached the same depth as those in, you know, Thrones series, which is like kind of unfair to make that assumption, because we've just started Dune Prophecy. It's episode 1, guys, episode 1, and we're already comparing. Like, come on, seriously? Despite some pacing drawbacks, the show employs effective cliffhangers. I mean, it was eerie when the episode ended. I was not expecting that, and it was, I mean, I'm hooked. I was already hyped before this, but I'm hyped now. I mean, I've never given, you know, an Orthodox sex narrative rating before the end of the, you know, the analysis, and I'm just saying, like, this is an A+. I loved it, I enjoyed it, I'll be watching it again, and I'll be tuning in next week. Now, despite all the eerie, horror-inspired elements adding a sense of urgency and excitement to the narrative, especially in its use of, you know, the supernatural aspects of the Dune universe, overall, while the first episode has its issues with rapid pacing, it sets an intriguing stage for the series and captures the feel of a grand, brutal saga with layers of mystery and manipulation. Future episodes are expected to build on the foundations laid, hopefully developing deeper into the character development and expanding on, you know, the intricacies and the concepts as the season progresses. We're going to dive a little bit into the cast, and I have to say, Travis Fimmel, I love him as Desmond Hart. I love Travis Fimmel. He's a great actor. If you've ever seen him in Vikings, go check it out. Like, I love this actor. He is amazing, and he really pulls off that kind of eerie, domineering, likable, but kind of flawed character arc very, very well. Emily Watson plays Valia Harkonnen. Thank goodness I got her name right this time. And then Joshua Houston plays, you know, Constantine, was it Carino? And then Mark Strong plays Emperor Javico Carino. I hope I'm saying these guys right. Anyway, Olivia Williams plays Sister Tula Harkonnen. We've got, you know, Jodie May as Empress Natalia. And then we've got Tubo as Sister Francis, and then Sarah Sofia Bosniani as Princess Inez Carino. So those are just a few of the great actors and actresses playing these, you know, fantastic, you know, characters. I'm hooked. It was a great episode. It was solid. And I mean, like, literally, guys, like, subscribe, drop a comment in the comment section below, and let me know what you thought of, you know, this Dune Prophecy. I was, honestly, have to just say it, I was really excited for this series, but I was kind of apprehensive. I was like, is it going to be good? Is it going to be alright? Because we've all seen the old sci-fi, you know, Dune series, and obviously, like, the movies are doing great. So I was like, is it gonna have, like, continuity from the big screen to, you know, the small screen? Am I gonna be able to watch it and be like, wow, this really fits into the universe that Denis Villeneuve is creating on the big screen? And I have to say, it does. It was continuity done right. I loved it. You don't feel like you're in a different universe. This is like a pet peeve that I have with just generally, like, in general. I just don't like it when, you know, people tell stories in the past or prequels and the technology doesn't shift or change. I mean, just look at it in terms of real life. Like, if you were to go back, I don't know, 400-500 years from now, we would not have a cell phone. So, but if you're telling a story back then and then you tell one now, obviously it's different culture, it's different technology at different times. I just didn't see that obviously this is like several thousand years before Paul Atreides in the story that we're seeing on the big screen being told by Denis Villeneuve and the story told by Frank Herbert himself. I'm just saying, like, I would have liked for some different technology stuff to be implemented, something, you know, different in terms of culture, just something to show, like, you know what, they're not at this point technologically, but at the same time it's kind of like there was the Baltarian Jihad, where obviously it was because of the technology and the thinking machines and they went to war, so it's kind of understandable in that sense, because it's like they're not really into the thinking machines, and you know, it's a whole mess with that thing. They're really afraid. There was a war, they were enslaved. Of course they're not going to be expertly, you know, striving for tech, you know, because it's something that they are very cautious of, so I understand that. So while some fans may appreciate its ambition and new takes on Dune mythos, the adaptation's choice to condense the narrative into a 6-episode season is a double-edged sword, presenting an exciting yet occasionally rushed experience. So I don't know if it's gonna be rushed, but this is something that we need to like take note and heed of. So, you know, this is just episode 1. I feel like they compiled a lot of stuff that they wanted to compile, and I loved it. I just would have rather had more, I don't know, I feel like they need to do like a spin-off about the Baltarian Jihad, about the war with the thinking machines, because that's just epic. Like, the visuals, when it first opened up, I was like, wow, are we getting right into it here? I wasn't expecting that, but it was a bit of, you know, exposition, but I feel like it will be a great story to tell, but they told it in a well sense, I guess, in the first episode, so I don't know if it's going to be like rushed later on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below. When you look up, you know, Dune Prophecy series, it's described as 10,000 years before the ascension of Paul Atreides, following 2 Harkonnen sisters as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish the fabled sect that will become known as the Bene Gesserit. Well, they actually didn't found it. It was actually the other Reverend Mother, the first Reverend Mother, who founded it. I just feel like the 2 Harkonnen sisters built on it. So I feel like, you know, that's a bit of a misrepresentation. But I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It went by really fast. It wasn't slow. And I have to say, it was kind of sad watching that kid, you know, get it from Desmond Hart. I mean, it was really nice to see like the political intricacies like just going on, how like the small fabrics were being pulled left, right and center, and how the Bene Gesserit are establishing their hold on, you know, the great houses of the Imperium. And I also really enjoyed the conversation with the Emperor and the Empress, where the Emperor is clearly relying on the Bene Gesserit so much. You know, he's relying on the Truthsayer so much. And his wife is like, listen, they've chosen that, you know, this marriage, they're leading this Imperium because they want our daughter to be one of them. Like, the kid is young, okay? He does nothing strategically for us other than provide, you know, weapons, men, or like ships for Arrakis. And Arrakis has always been a problem. We can already see that the Bene Gesserit are leaving things out and are leaving the Emperor open to their mechanisms. And I just loved it. It's just like fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And I also really liked Charita Chadordan as young Francesca. I loved seeing like the training, the sisterhood, and I loved seeing how as soon as like the original Reverend Mother, you know, passed, Valia Harkonnen just kind of stepped in, because she was just like, you know what, the sisterhood must stand. The sisterhood, we cannot be divided. And one thing that this organization does well is stand in truth together under their mission statement. You know, they're not divided. Well, they could be a bit divided, but at the end of the day, like, they're on it with what they want to achieve. And it's just like goes to show how 10,000 years. This is 10,000 years before Paul Atreides is like born or anything like that. And they've been doing this for that long, and it has never gone off course like significantly for them not to get the Kwisatz Haderach. But at the end of the day, it did kind of go off course because Jessica fell in love with Duke Atreides. Bottom line is, like, I loved it. I can't wait to do more deep dives, and I love me some science fiction. So yeah, this was an A+. Let me know what you would rate this, what you thought, even if it's just like a smiley face. If you saw the end, just put a smiley face in the comment section, and let's just get a discussion going, because I love it when, I reply to comments, and, I love reading things. So, just let me know what you guys thought, and I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome to the end of the video, and thank you very much for making it to the end. Make sure you check out Vertigo Honor Bound by Blood, the first installment in the Vertigo book series. It is set in 2095 at the heart of the Imperial Champion regime, where Emperor Gregory Champion rules over Earth and the colonies stretching out across the solar system, where there is a virus called the Omega virus that has mutated and changed the political landscape of Earth. This is a story about factions, about coming of age, about the importance of being firm in what you believe in a world where bloodlines matter. What faction are you?